Workers' education programs in India. So in this session, we will go through education programs in India for workers, and we'll see that there are basically two education programs and institutions which were set up. One is Central Board of Workers' Education, and the other one is IIWE, which is Indian Institute of Workers' Education. So first we'll take a look at what is CBWE. As explained, CBWE was set up during the second five-year plan. It was according to Workers' Education Scheme in the year 1957. CBWE was set up as a tripartite society registered under the Society Registration Act of 1860. Structure of CBWE exists, and we will go through it in a while. Also, there are objectives of CBWE, including patriotism and national integrity. So first we'll take a look at what is CBWE and how was it set up in the second five-year plan. So in India, inclusion of workers' education in second five-year plan started with setting up of Central Board of Workers' Education, or CBWE. This board was autonomous and was set up in 1958, administered under a three-tier scheme formulated by the Government of India. CBWE, in other words, is a tripartite body and is an autonomous institution. Now, we'll see what is Workers' Education Scheme. So in the year 1957, Government of India formulated Workers' Education Scheme. The Government of India, in cooperation with Ford Foundation, appointed international experts to suggest Workers' Educational Scheme. Based on the recommendation of the report submitted on the 15th session of the Indian Labour Conference in July 1957, a semi-autonomous board was set up for administering the Workers' Educational Scheme. Consequently, in 1958, upon recommendation of the Indian Labour Conference, CBWE was set up as a tripartite society registered under the Society Registration Act of 1860. So it was until 1958 there were no CBWE. In 1958, upon recommendations of the Indian Labour Conference, CBWE was set up as a tripartite society registered under the Society Registration Act of 1860. Now we'll see what is the structure of CBWE. The structure of CBWE is such that members of the society include chairman, who is nominated by the Government of India, representatives of workers, representatives of employers, government and educational bodies. The director of CBWE is member secretary and the principal chief executive. The affairs of board are managed by the governing body elected from members of the board annually. Now we'll see what are the objectives of CBWE. The objectives of CBWE includes patriotism, national integrity, strengthening all sections of the working class. They also engage in socio-economic development of the country. The members are expected to be responsible as family members, be aware of rights and obligations as citizens, as workers in the industry, as members and officials of the trade union. The membership in CBWE helps in developing leadership in rank and file workers who are grassroots level members. Ultimately, the trade unions are enabled to take over workers' education. So that is CBWE, or Central Board of Workers' Education. The next education program we are going to see is IIWE, or Indian Institute of Workers' Education. It was set up by CBWE in 1970. It's a training institute with fully equipped training facilities, modern amenities, conference halls and canteens. The aims and objectives of IIWE are to set up a strong and more responsible union initiate growth of democratic process in unions. In addition, it also offers pre-employment courses for education officers, refresher and special courses for regional directors and education officers. There also exist specialized schemes for training and education and knowledge banks for regional and sub-regional directorate of boards. It also makes use of experienced personnel in foreign countries in the implementation of workers' education programs and acts as an in-house training center. So that is IIWE. Next, we'll take a look at what are the contents of workers' education. So there is a vocational training content. There is education as part of it. There are general schemes in the contents of workers' education when we discuss that, as well as there are schemes guaranteed by Constitution. So we'll take a look at each of them. So the contents of workers' education span across vocational training, education, schemes or general schemes, and schemes guaranteed by Constitution. Workers' education differs from vocational education and professional education because those are individual training, whereas workers' education is technically group advancement. Workers' education is one of the primary objectives of Ministry of Labour and Employment, and through enforcement of various schemes and programs, it tends to achieve education of tribal workers, women workers, and weaker sections of the society. There are fundamentally two schemes in existence, general schemes maybe, one for the socio-economic development of the country and another for child labor policies. For socio-economic development of the country, awareness and education is created at national, regional, and unit levels through a network of 50 regional and 90 sub-regional directorates, 4 zonal directorate under IIWE at Mumbai. In pursuance of National Child Labour Policy, a scheme was started to rehabilitate children, including withdrawing children from occupations and processes and putting them in special schools in order to enable them formal schooling system. So those are the general schemes. Next is the schemes guaranteed by Constitution. According to the Constitution of India, Article 45 provides for childhood care and education for all children who have completed age 6 and 14 years, whereas Article 21A guarantees free and compulsory education to children less than 14 years. So these are the schemes guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Next, we'll take a look at levels of workers' education program. So here in this section, we know that the levels are national, regional, and unit levels. So the levels of workers' education program happens at national level, regional level, and unit level. In national level, education officers are trained where the participants are selected by CBWE and trained at the central place by board officials. Next is regional, where education officers train workers' teachers. So at national level, education officers are trained, where the participants are selected by CBWE. Once they undergo training, they go to the regional level and train workers' teachers. Workers' teachers, what they do is they get training from education officers at regional level, and then they go to the unit where they conduct programs for rank and file workers at their respective units. So this completes the session on workers' education programs in India. Thank you.